Red alert in Washington. Something big is brewing on the Commanders' defense. Can you imagine an all-pro defensive player who once ruled the field but is now on a downward spiral? Well, the alarms are ringing loud and clear, because we might be on the verge of seeing him join our defense. But watch out. This move could be a total disaster. Do we really need him, or are we just repeating the mistakes of the past? Stick around till the end, because this could be the game-changing blow that defines our season. Attention! A betrayal is coming. A first-round player is about to be shipped out, and you won't see it coming. An AFC team is ready to snatch this talent from us. But is it really talent or just a burden we need to shed before it's too late? This decision could shake the foundations of our defense and change the game forever. Don't go anywhere, because what I'm about to reveal is unbelievable. And wait, because the best is yet to come. The explosive power of our ground game is at stake. Yes, our star running back is about to make his return. Will he be the savior we so desperately need, or will we lose him at the most critical moment? This is the piece that could tear apart rival defenses and take us to the top. But beware, his status is still a mystery, and the game is just around the corner. Hit that subscribe button now, because this comeback could be the game changer for the season. Don't you dare blink. Attention, Commanders fans. Let's get straight to the point. No beating around the bush. How does this sound? An NFL analyst has linked Jamal Adams, a former All-Pro, with our team, the Washington Commanders. Yes, you heard it right. Jamal Adams, the same guy who used to destroy offenses in his prime, could be on our radar. But before we get too excited, let's pause and evaluate what this really means. I ask you, would this be a smart move? I think there are more questions than answers here. Let's dive into the details. General Manager Adam Peters has completely changed the course of this team. No more impulsive decisions, no more signing big names just for the prestige. What we've seen since his arrival is pure strategy, calculated changes that are transforming the culture of the Commanders. And that's what we need. But now, with evident issues in our defensive secondary, some believe the solution could be bringing in Jamal Adams, who was recently released by the Tennessee Titans. But really, let me tell you this, Adams isn't the same as before. His best days are behind him, and injuries have taken a toll, robbing him of the explosiveness that made him a nightmare for quarterbacks. Make no mistake, he was one of the best in his time, but that's a different story now. Do we really think he could be the answer? Look at the numbers. The Commanders are allowing 24.2 points per game. We're letting opponents convert 46.1% of their third downs, and 70% of the time they reach the red zone, they're scoring touchdowns. That's unacceptable. Do we need help on defense? Absolutely. But is Adams the answer? I don't think so. Not now. Not at this point in his career. Here's another question. Would we really want a player who is no longer the same in coverage? I ask you this because Adams, despite his fame, has proven to be a liability in coverage lately. If Peters has good sense, and I believe he does, he won't go down that path. Now, I understand why some see a possible connection. Ken Norton Jr., our linebackers coach, was Adams' defensive coordinator in Seattle, which might suggest some familiarity between them. But be careful, because Peters isn't one to be swayed by big names without substance. We know this all too well. If this were under the previous ownership, maybe this story would be different. But not anymore. Peters knows what he's doing and has proven he can build something great. Are we really going to go back to the past? What I'm saying is this. Yes, we need depth in the secondary, but bringing in a player who no longer has it, just because he was once a star, isn't what this team needs right now. Jamal Adams is a big name, but at this point in his career, he's not the answer we're looking for. Now I ask you, Commanders fans, should we take a risk on someone like Adams, or do we prefer Peters to stick to his methodical approach and bring in someone who can really make a difference? Leave your comments. What's going on with Emanuel Forbes, and why would the Commanders be willing to let go of their first-round pick from 2023 so soon? I'll tell you right now, this is not something we see every day, and, honestly, it's got me confused, frustrated, and very intrigued. But before jumping to conclusions, let's look at what's really happening here. Listen to this. Emanuel Forbes Jr., a guy we went all in on with a first-round draft pick in 2023, might be on his way out before this year's trade deadline. Yes, a first-round pick. According to what Bill Barnwell from ESPN said, The Chargers might be interested in acquiring Forbes, and honestly, given the current situation, it looks like it could be a win-win for both teams. So how did we get here? First of all, we know that general manager Adam Peters doesn't have much love for the picks from the Ron Rivera era. I'm telling you this, it's a fact. And this is where it gets even more interesting. Peters himself, a calculated guy, is managing a team that has a solid 4-2 record this season, with some winnable games on the calendar. That's where the dilemma lies. The Commanders have a real shot at the playoffs. So why would we be thinking about letting go of someone with Forbes' potential? It's true the kid hasn't managed to settle into the defense. He's currently at the bottom of the depth chart, which is frankly a huge disappointment for someone with his talent. But whose fault is it? I ask you, is it a matter of fitting into the scheme, or has Forbes really not lived up to expectations? That's the question. Now let me tell you this. The Chargers are willing to take a gamble. We're talking about a team that urgently needs depth in the secondary, with Asante Samuel Jr. out for 3 weeks due to injury. So what are they proposing? According to Barnwell, the offer on the table would be a trade of a 5th-round pick for Forbes and a 6th-round pick, giving the Commanders some capital for future moves. But here comes my question. Is that enough for a first-round talent? I say no. But of course, I also understand Peters' position. The guy wants to avoid this team getting stuck in the wrong decisions of the previous management, and if that means cutting ties with Forbes, then maybe it's the right call. But let's be clear, letting go of Forbes so early could turn out to be a colossal mistake, because this kid was drafted for his ability to be a shutdown corner, a stopper on defense. Ron Rivera was convinced he was getting the next big cornerback. But as of today, that's a far cry from reality. And Peters doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. Now Forbes has received advice from Dan Quinn, who has told him to keep his head up and be ready to seize his opportunity when it comes. But we all know that if he doesn't improve soon, Peters might cut his losses and send him to the West Coast with the Chargers. I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. What's going to happen in the coming weeks will be crucial for the future of this team. Whether Emanuel Forbes stays or goes will give us a very clear indication of where this franchise is headed under Adam Peters' leadership. Attention, Commanders fans. What's coming in Week 7 could completely change the direction of our offense. Brian Robinson Jr., the powerhouse we desperately need in the running game, could be back. And let me tell you, this isn't just any return. This could be exactly what the team needs to balance its game and get back on the winning track. Robinson has been out with a right knee injury, and we felt it hard in the 30-23 loss to the Ravens on Sunday. With 73 carries and 325 yards this season, he's the undeniable leader of the Commanders' ground game. Yes, Jaden Daniels can run, but I ask you, do we want to risk our QB running more than necessary? I say no, and Coach Dan Quinn has been clear, we don't want those hits. So if we want Daniels to focus on throwing and not scrambling, we need Robinson back and fast. Now, is it possible he'll be ready for Sunday? The signs are good. He participated in practice on Wednesday, limited but present. And according to ESPN, Robinson mentioned that he feels like himself again, giving us hope to see him in action against the Panthers. What does this mean? We could exploit the weaknesses Atlanta exposed last week in their 38-20 victory over Carolina. The Falcons tore up that defense with 198 rushing yards. You know what? I believe if Robinson returns, the Commanders are going to do the same, if not more. Do you think we can crush that weak Panthers defense? I say yes. The big problem on Sunday was that without Robinson, our running game became predictable, almost non-existent. Yes, Ekeler did what he could, but he was also coming off a concussion. Having Robinson back doesn't just mean a return to offensive balance, it means a constant threat for opposing defenses. And Daniels knows it. He said on Wednesday, it's going to be helpful having B-Rob back. He's a special player, how he runs, how he breaks tackles, and he doesn't get enough credit for his hands in the passing game. That's right, folks. Having Robinson on the field isn't just important for rushing, it also provides options in the passing game. He's a versatile threat. The Panthers are allowing over 30 points per game, folks. Their defense is broken, and this Sunday could be the perfect day for Robinson and the Commanders to shine and tear them apart. But I ask you, do you think with Robinson's return, we have what it takes to obliterate Carolina? I say, absolutely. This is our moment to dominate them completely. So fans, stay tuned. This Sunday could be the game that puts the Commanders back on the right track. And remember, Robinson's return benefits not just the team, but all of us who want to see Washington at the top. After the latest news, there's a lot to discuss. What do you think about the potential arrival of Jamal Adams and his impact on our defense? Drop your comments below. Now let's talk about the future. Should Emanuel Forbes be traded? It's a hot topic, and your opinions are crucial to us. Share your thoughts, and let's discuss the decisions that could define our season. Lastly, with Brian Robinson Jr. making his return, how do you think this will affect our offense against the Carolina Panthers? Are we ready to prove that we can compete at the highest level? This is a space where every opinion matters, so don't forget to comment and be an active part of this conversation. Subscribe to the channel to join our family of fans and stay updated with all the latest on the Commanders. And remember, hail to the Redskins!